Hi, and good morning. Welcome to Social Studies. May please take out a pen and your notebook so we can correct the questions from yesterday evening. So, what are we checking for today? By the end of today, please go ahead and have your work corrected. Have the number wrong on the top. Please correct it in pen. If you went ahead and did it digitally, I asked you to make the corrections in a different color. So go into the document, add the extra details in a different color. For example, you wrote in black, make the colors in red. That would be great, and that way we can make sure it's in full detail. Please add the extra details. It is essential. Mark them clearly. See me if you have any questions through the Google Classroom, through the message below, or send an email. We'll take it from there. That's the only way you can quote unquote see me or any of us right now. What I like to do is also tell you, so you're going to post that. There's also a couple clips with a little reflection. I'm just going to say, instead of making all this due by the end of the day Friday, just post it by the end of the day Sunday. So give you extra couple days if needed. I'm fine with that. So by the end of the day Sunday, you can just have it there, and I'll check it off for work for Friday. That way we can get the hours in. So let's begin. I'm going to go ahead and share here for a little bit. There's not a lot I want to share on the screen, but there'll be some information. So let's go ahead and begin. So take a look at number one. Number 1A, Zimmermann telegram. Please put a star next to that one. We should be familiar with that for right now, because the Zimmermann telegram, it's a German telegram to the Mexican government that fueled the anti-German feeling. It really fueled the anti-German feeling. It's here on the screen. As you can see, number 5 has Germany resuming use submarine to attack the U.S. Yes, that's going to get to that. We're going to see that happen. But take a look at number 4. Although it's not in bold, it's essential. The Zimmermann telegram to Mexico was a direct threat to the U.S. So please make it clear that it was a direct threat to the U.S. B, Jeannette Rankin. She's a congresswoman who promoted peace. While you see some individuals are promoting war, some individuals are promoting peace. You have this great individual, Rankin, who's going ahead and promoting peace during a very, very troubled time. Selective Service Act C, please put a star next to that one. This is essential. It requires young men to register for the draft so they can fight in the war. So all young men will be required to fight in the war, right? Because what's going to happen here is not necessarily that they're required to fight in the war, but they're required to register for the draft, which means any of these young men could go to war at any time. D, Herbert Hoover. You might say, well, that's a president. Well, not yet. Let's not get too far yet. There's some time. That's Wilson's Food Administration head. He's the head of the Food Administration. Yes, future president. E, Liberty bonds. You may want to put a star next to that one. They're bonds that helped raise money to fund the war. Bonds that helped raise money to fund the war. 2, take a look at 2A through G. If you have any questions on those, let me know. That will be fine. What we can do is just double check it through your cards that you have, and if you have any issues, let me know. 3, describe Wilson's efforts to achieve peace. So I'm just going to pull up this slide here. You don't necessarily need to go ahead and jot this one down, but let's have it for now. You can jot down some information if you find it helpful. Wilson tried to bring both sides to peace talks. Wilson wanted this right here. If you take a look at the slide where we have right here, number 4, Wilson wanted peace without victory. All nations treated fairly. He's not looking at one coming up above the other, but he wants to bring both sides to peace talks, with the United States acting as the neutral arbitrator. So The U.S. would be the neutral arbitrator. So what does that mean? The U.S. is not right now going to pick a side. They're not going to pick a side just yet on if we're going to war or if we're not. It's a time of peace or is a time of war. He knows war is a moral issue, so he's going to go ahead and try to bring peace to both sides. The U.S. is going to be that arbitrator, kind of that person that's going to not choose a side, but take a leadership role in this moment. These efforts fail, so that never actually does happen for the U.S. to take that leadership role. Identify 3 events that move the U.S. towards war. You may want to put a star next to this one. Number 4, how does the U.S. move towards war? So right away, let me pull this one here. Okay, go back to number 5 on this list. Germany resumes U-boat attacks on neutral shipping travel to Britain. So it's Germany's resumption of U-boat attacks on neutral ships traveling to Britain. So 5 is a big one to jot down. Germany resumed use of submarines to attack the U.S. So 5 on the screen could tie into question number 4. Of course, Zimmerman telegram. You can add this to number 4 as well. Zimmerman telegram to Mexico was a direct threat to the U.S. And you do need to have this one right here. Russian Revolution. Please jot down Russian Revolution. 1917. Number 5, how did the U.S. prepare for war? So how is the U.S. preparing for war? It's going to go ahead and pass the Selective Service Act, so it can basically raise an army. That's essential for protection. It created a system to boost food production and manage food resources to make sure we have enough food and resources to do so. It created the War Industries Board to mobilize industry. It created the War Labor Board to manage the workforce. So they do not know that the workforce will have to be closely managed. Of course, in the coming months, you're going to see women who are going to take a much active role than ever before during this time. It's actually going to be pretty interesting. You're going to see African-American soldiers enlisting as well. So we look forward to learning more about that. But how did the war ignite prejudice against some groups at home? So I showed you some propaganda images the other day, but basically German Americans are viewed with suspicion, and they are often targeted. They are subject to intolerant treatment. So German Americans, even if they have nothing to do with what's occurring, which they didn't, German Americans did not, there was a great resentment. African Americans who had come to northern cities to find jobs in war industries ran into prejudice and even violence. So even though many African Americans were looking for work to contribute positively, they did face a lot of prejudice, a lot of violence, and race riots would occur. Race riots did occur. Write a newspaper editorial about the United States' entry into war. Take a moment, take a look at your editorial, 5 to 6 sentences in reference to the main idea. The U.S. tried to remain neutral, but the German campaign of submarine warfare finally brought the country into war. Please note that your editorials may vary, but should focus on the move away from neutrality. You should make it clear somewhere along the lines here that Wilson, right, if you take a look at number 1 on here, Wilson knew that he needed a reason for going into war. He needed to convince Americans that war was necessary. You may want to jot that down. And all of a sudden, he's able to do so, move away from neutrality because of the continued attacks of submarine warfare. If anybody needs any further details, you can take a look at page 692 If you said yes, take a moment, jot this down, even if you didn't. If you said yes, submarine warfare. Americans are furious about submarine warfare that's occurring. Many Americans are favoring Britain and France. Zimmerman telegram a threat. And American trade with the Allies is growing. Some people say no. Some people say no, the U.S. should not have declared war on Germany because the U.S. had been neutral for many years. Some Americans sympathize with the Central Powers. Wilson opposes the alliance with the Russian Tsar, and pacifists are opposed to joining the war. Anything like that is fine. And again, number 8, answers may vary. Do you believe that the government should have the right to silence critics during wartime? Give reasons to support your viewpoint. If you said yes, please look at yours right now. Even if you didn't, you may want to add this too. Yes. Citizens should be willing to make sacrifices during a national emergency. A national emergency can be looked at to be war. Or no. Take a moment, jot this down. No. Such censorship violates the Constitution's guarantee of free speech. So some people say no, if we censor what people are trying to say here, we're going against the Constitution, and specifically the First Amendment, guaranteeing individuals those freedoms. Those are the questions. Number wrong on the top. If you have any questions, take a moment and let me know. I'd be happy to look into these further with you. If you had any questions, that should be it. Double check this post. Make sure you have this posted with the number wrong. Take a moment, videos, reflections. I told you we're going to have an assessment next week. It's going to be more written. Stick with it. Stay focused. Stay positive. Stay healthy. And until next time, have a great day. Enjoy your breakfast.